Pasadena Enterprise Zone. Open for business.
Hi, I'm Jesse Avila at the Convalescent Aid Society, a nonprofit organization established in 1923. We provide the free loan of durable medical equipment, of hospital beds, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, and many other items. Your donations and contributions are welcome and greatly appreciated. We are located at 3255 East Foothill Boulevard in Pasadena.
We're here to help you!
Please give us a call and check for availability at 626-793-1696.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching CCN Crown City News. Your news, your neighborhood. I'm Sunita Joshua Madison. Our top story, last year's officer-involved shooting death of Kendrec McDade inflamed tensions between the Pasadena police and the community. CCN's Paulo Alejandro attended a rally to mark the one-year anniversary of McDade's death, and he's here to tell us about it. Now, Paulo, you've been covering this event since the beginning, and you know, we can see both sides of this here, but you know, for the McDade family, it's so emotional. Can you tell us about some of the emotions at that rally yesterday?
Well, what struck me as particularly poignant is that personally, us in the media are really interested in the story at the onset when everything is breaking. What we fail to consider sometimes is there is an aftermath to everything, and you have a family that is still very much dealing with the pain of losing their son, brother, cousin. Particularly when you talk about the holidays that have passed and Easter coming up, and with Kendric's birthday coming up in May 5th, Anya Slaughter, his mother, and his brother, another close family, were there. And out of respect to them, I did not feature them in the story, but you do get a sense from them that it is something they are still very much dealing with, and it is still as hard as it was last year.
It hasn't gotten too much easier for them.
Yeah. Local leaders have pushed Pasadena Police Department to create a civilian. 1 year later, there are still ongoing investigations with no simple answers, especially not for the family of Kendrec McDade, who feel they've been left in the dark about why their son had to die. Following on the heels of the Trayvon Martin case, another unarmed young man shot to death last year, Kendrec McDade's family had national attention. Civil rights activists like Jesse Jackson came to town to support the family and address the community. Now a much smaller gathering honored their son.
Both have a gun, man. They both the gun and run away from me. So both had a gun? Yes, I know. Both have a gun.
It was exactly a year ago yesterday when the officer-involved shooting death of unarmed teenager Kendrec McDade of Azusa garnered national attention and galvanized local community leaders and residents. Last night, a group of family, friends, and supporters gathered at the corner of Sunset and Orange Grove to remember the teenager whose death still resonates in the community. A year later, they still demand justice and a change in the way police handle cases with young black men.
Very important that they shouldn't forget that it's a lot of young people that's out here that's really just losing their lives for no reason.
For many in the community, McDade's death is the latest chapter in what some see as a troublesome history between the Pasadena Police Department and minority men. Philip Cabell, attorney and local community advocate who organized last night's commemoration, said the Pasadena Police Department needs to take full responsibility and make a full public admission of guilt for the events that led to McDade's death. He says the community needs to take an active role in making sure the PPD is held accountable for the incident.
In the best light, the police made a mistake. In the worst light, they murdered him. Either way, the community can't be relaxed and complacent about a child of ours being killed, period.
The alleged mistake came after Oscar Carrillo called police and said two men robbed him and fled down Orange Grove Boulevard. As we heard on the 911 call, Carrillo repeatedly asserted that the two men had guns, an assertion he later recanted soon after the shooting. Police say that Live forced the officer's hand when the suspect came toward them with his hand at his waist when the chase ended here on Sunset Avenue. The two officers opened fire and the suspect fell to the street. Police found no gun at the site, but placed blame on the 911 caller. The city attorney filed misdemeanor charges against the false report Carrillo made. This past Wednesday, the PPD released an internal review that found the officers involved in the incident, Matthew Newland and Jeffrey Griffin, acted within departmental policy. McDade's family still has a federal civil rights lawsuit pending against the city of Pasadena. During Sunday night's commemoration, We asked McDade's uncle, Kevin McDade, about the department's findings and where his family plans to go from here.
The McDade family and the Slaughter family will fight this until the last breath out of our body is done. Every day it's going to be a fight if they think that they're going to get away with this. You know, you're not going to get away with this.
In Pasadena, Paulo Alejandria, CCN.
Local leaders pushed the Pasadena Police Department to create a civilian oversight board to review issues as to why officers didn't use a light in the dark street, why they didn't use police sirens, and why there wasn't video of the shooting. However, we spoke to Lieutenant Tracy Ibarra, Public Information Officer for the PPD, who says the department has already taken full accountability and offered transparency by enlisting multiple agencies to review them and investigate the officer-involved shooting. Lieutenant Ibarra also cited the Los Angeles County District Attorney's own investigation of the shooting, released on December 17, 2012, which found officers Newland and Griffin, quote, acted in self-defense and acted in defense of others, unquote. Ibarra adds that the Pasadena Police Department is well aware and sympathizes with the tragedy of McDade's death, and every measure has been taken to ensure a thorough investigation of his case. Sunita?
Well, thanks for that, Paulo. And, you know, I think the hard part about this is it's still ongoing. You know, it's still on. We're waiting for investigations on this still.
Yes, it's something that was an easy situation to begin with, and it's not going to be easily resolved. But we hope some sort of resolution comes for both sides.
Well, and there'll be more results that we get from investigations. The PPD is awaiting reports conducted by the Office of Independent Review as well as the FBI, which will be made available to the public. Oscar Carrillo is scheduled in court tomorrow for a pre-trial hearing on the charges against him. Another death at Eaton Canyon, and a PCC track star doesn't let autism get in her way of winning on and off the track. CCN's TK Trinidad talked to the athlete who took part in the Pasadena Games this past weekend. That story and more when we come back.
This CCN Green Minute is brought to you by Southern California Edison.
Hi, I'm Luna with CCN, and I'm here with Janetta Harris to give us some tips on how customers can save energy and money.
Great. Thank you, Luna. First, I'd like to offer to our customers, if you're in the market for purchasing new appliances, please take a look at the Energy Star emblem that may be on them. You'll see two numbers on them. One number obviously is the purchase price of the appliance. The other number reflects how much energy they will actually save in a year. So make sure we look for those. We not only have them on appliances, but also electronic devices.
And what kind of electronic devices, besides the refrigerators and the kitchen appliances, can customers look for?
We all like computers, right? We all want those laptops. We need printers to get information out. So again, the Energy Star logo will be on those appliances or those electronic devices as well. We have a host of information, a lot of electronic and energy efficiency tips on sce.com/tips, or they can call into our call center at 800-736-4777.
Thanks so much. I'm sure everyone appreciates those ways that they can save money and energy. This has been your Southern California Edison Green Minute.
This CCN Green Minute is brought to you by Southern California Edison.
Welcome back. The Pasadena Games were held this past weekend, where college, high school, and professional athletes competed in everything from the 100 to the steeplechase. One of the stars of the games was Pasadena City College runner Brianna Clark, a runner who doesn't let the hurdle of autism slow her down. TK Trinidad has her story.
Brianna Clark has had autism all her life, but she'll never let it slow her down to achieve her goals.
I run the 4x1. The 100-meter race, the 200-meter race, and the 4x4-meter relay, otherwise known as a mile relay.
For Pasadena City College head coach Larry Wade, Brianna proves herself as an asset to the team at every competition and is happy she chose PCC to compete.
She's a very unique individual. I'm very excited, very happy to have her.
Autism affects people differently and to varying degrees. Brianna has high-functioning autism. We asked Coach Wade if he had to make any changes to his coaching style to train Brianna.
You would think that I would have to do something unusual, something unique to actually coach her. Brianna's the easiest young lady to coach.
Brianna's mother feels that running track has helped her socially because of the team atmosphere. For Brianna and Coach Wade, they will just see how far her talent takes her.
I just feel like with her hard work and her talent that she has the ability to actually go out there and be a state finalist, if not a state champion.
I haven't decided yet, but I'll see what happens.
This past weekend, Brianna competed in the Pasadena Games and came in first in the 400 meters. In Pasadena, I'm TK Trinidad, CCN.
Brianna is not alone in her autism diagnosis. Last year, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention came out with a report concluding that autism has risen to 1 in every 88 births in the United States. As for Brianna, several four-year universities are scouting her once she finishes her program at PCC. Brianna hopes to have a career in the music industry when she graduates. To check out where the PCC Lancers will be competing next, you can go to pasadena.edu/athletics/track for more information. Now, here are some stories you might have missed this past week right here in the San Gabriel Valley. Last Friday, 17-year-old Esther Swen, a student at Alhambra Mark Keppel High School, fell to her death after trying to hike the second waterfall in Eaton Canyon. Swen fell 200 feet and died from a head trauma suffered at the scene. Firefighters, with help from the deputies, were able to rescue 3 other hikers on the same trail, only one of whom had injuries requiring medical attention. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has a video on YouTube it made after previous deaths at the falls called "The Dangers of the Eaton Canyon Waterfall into Question." The department hopes hikers will watch the video and realize that there are no safe trails in Eaton Canyon Waterfall area. To see the video, go to youtube.com and search for "The Dangers of Eaton Canyon Waterfall." Drivers in Temple City are finding it harder to get to work and back home this month due to major closures on North Rosemead Boulevard. Crews are working to repair the median and sidewalks from the Union Pacific Railroad underpass all the way to Kalita Street. The crews are also planting dozens of new trees. Businesses along the route remain open during the peak construction times of 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m., although the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is enforcing a no parking zone along the construction route. Residents directly affected by the lack of street parking, especially in the evening, can receive free temporary parking permits for adjacent side streets by visiting Temple City Hall at 9701 La Tunas Drive and presenting a utility bill and proof of registration. Last Saturday night, Pasadena's famed City Hall went completely dark. But don't worry, the city didn't fail to pay its electric bill. Pasadena joined hundreds of cities around the world at 8:30 p.m. by turning off all electricity for 1 hour as part of the Earth Hour 2013 celebrations. The World Wildlife Fund group organizes this event every year, which they hope draws attention to the effect of global warming. A virtual ride-along with Altadena Sheriff Station, Captain John Benedict is here live in studio to tell us about Friday's tweet-a-thon. That's coming up next on Crown City News. Your news, your neighborhood. We'll be back.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4. So I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Rich?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
But it would be safe to keep your distance until there's no secret that will make you smile. Reliable sources say that chicken soup has found their way out of this
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes off the bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Back, everyone, to go on a ride-along with the Sheriff's Department. Last Friday, you had the opportunity to go on a virtual ride-along with the Altadena Sheriff Station. They participated with other Sheriff's Departments across the country in a tweet-a-thon. What's that, you ask? Well, deputies used the social media site Twitter to give residents in their communities a better idea of what the kinds of calls they get and what happens when they're put out on patrol. Captain John Benedict is here in studio to tell us how it went. Welcome, Captain. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Well, this is a really innovative idea. Tell us about it.
Well, on Friday, as you know, we had a tweet-a-thon. It was a global tweet-a-thon, actually. We participated globally across the country. We had about 9 countries that were involved in it, over 200 participants and agencies that were involved in this global tweet-a-thon. And a lot of it had to do with just letting people know that law enforcement is involved in social media, and we use Twitter as one of those platforms.
Did you follow any of the sites around the world then?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a fun stuff to do because you get to see what other law enforcement agencies are doing and what some of their issues are and problems are as well. And, you know, we compare notes.
How did this idea start in the first place?
Well, it actually started from a site actually on the East Coast where they decided to put something together in order to let people know about law enforcement and what they're doing in social media. So that's actually how it started. We got involved in it just by you know, people telling us about it through the social media platforms that we have.
And was this something, I mean, are you actively involved on social media anyway? Or was this, you know, kind of a learning experience to get on board with this?
Well, we're learning as we go along. But yes, we are actively involved in social media. If you go to our website, the department website at lasd.org, you can find on there all the different types of social media platforms that we're involved in. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel as well. Particularly to the Altadena Sheriff Station, we have our own Facebook account that residents specifically to Altadena can go on and learn all kinds of things about what's happening in the Altadena area, particularly to the Sheriff's Department.
So how is the tweet-a-thon structured in your department? I mean, do you have specific people, even with, you know, what you're doing ongoing, specific people who are just in charge of the social media end, or are all deputies involved on this?
Well, we try to get them all involved as much as we possibly can, but mostly it's the community relations side of the Altadena Sheriff Station. We also have our watch deputies and dispatchers involved because if there's something that's going on real time, let's say there's an incident that's happening and it's starting to unfold, we want to make sure that we get the information out to the public as quickly as possible, particularly on public safety related issues. So we might tweet that out, avoid this area because of police activities. We also use Nixle, which is another form of social media, in order to get that information out to the public as quickly as we possibly can. But it's also a good way of just engaging the public, letting them know that we're out there.
So do officers, do they have their personal Twitter accounts that they're using, or do they have designated accounts that they're using?
They use designated accounts. So what happens is we're able to monitor exactly what the deputies are putting out as well. So you know, we don't want them to go rogue, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
So what will happen is the deputy will create a Twitter account. It'll be assigned through our Sheriff's Headquarters Bureau and our Media Relations Unit up there. And then it's attached to our Twitter account, which is at ALDLASD. So when a deputy tweets out from his specific Twitter account, it then promulgates our department, or actually I should say our station Twitter account, which is at ALDLASD.
Okay, so it kind of funnels right into
it. Funnels
the
right
same
into
thing.
it, exactly.
Now, you know, I mean, with all of us, we're all multitasking and trying to do 10 things at one time, but, you know, these are deputies that really need to focus at times. Is it distracting to try to get them to also use social media?
Well, you know, the deputies that are in the field aren't oftentimes the one that's actually tweeting this stuff out. So, and then what we're asking them to do is obviously because of safety reasons, we don't want them tweeting while they're driving or tweeting while they're involved in an incident that's going on right in front of them. So if they're actually going to be tweet, it's usually from our desk as they're dispatching. They'll actually tweet out a call after it's happened, because we don't obviously want people showing up to those calls as well. And it's just, this global tweet-a-thon that we were just talking about, that was a one-day thing for a virtual ride-along for people just to follow along, you know, with. It's not going to be something that's going to be happening all the time.
So they can't just check in there, kind of like, you know, the old radio police scanner that people would be listening to?
Well, they can check in. We're going to be tweeting, but we're not going to be doing it as much as we did on Friday. We'll be tweeting those public safety related issues that are going to be coming out. So every once in a while, you'll get a tweet. Could be once or twice a day. It's not going to be, as you saw on Friday, we were tweeting probably like every 10 or 15 minutes. Deputies going to calls. It was, marketed as a virtual ride-along. And
what was the reaction from the community? Did you hear directly from people that they enjoyed it, or what was the reaction you got?
I got really positive reactions from the community. They were like, at first it was like, yeah, really? This is how you get different reactions from the public. But at the very end of the day and halfway through it, they were really, they were following along, and they were seeing some of the stuff that the deputies get involved in. It's quite exciting, actually.
Mm-hmm. Do you use Twitter and Facebook and all of that? Are you involved?
Yes, you can follow me at JBLASD, which is my Twitter account. We have a station Facebook account as well, so you can go to our Facebook account, just go into Facebook, log on for Altadena Sheriff Station, and we have a great Facebook that engages with the community all the time.
Okay. Well, now let's a little bit more with social media. There's obviously a great way to connect with the community in this way, but is it a blessing and a curse?
What do you mean?
Does it make it so, like you were talking about, you aren't necessarily going to be telling people right away, where incidents are occurring. You don't want people to, kind of chase you around the community. Right. But does it make it so that people are expecting too much information?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I mean, the way Sheriff Lee Baca looks at it is that we're engaged with the community, and we're looking for different ways in order to communicate with the people that we service. And the people that we service are on social media. And we can stick our heads in the sand and think that it's not there and not engage those people in the social media world, but it's there, and it's something that we do, and then we need to be part of that as well. So is it a blessing? Is it a curse? I don't think you can look at it in those terms. I think it's here, and you have to be part of it. And if you're not, then you've lost the boat.
Well, let's look at it from the other end of the way social media can play, what kind of role it plays in investigations. We recently heard about the horrific case with the Steubenville gang incident, and basically, all of the events unfolded on Twitter and on social media, and it was a blogger who was noticing all of the events and basically a clear timeline of when things were happening. How is a sheriff station monitoring social media to kind of keep active on crime scene investigations?
Well, we look at all the information that's out there, of course. We're out there as well on social media, so the information that's coming out is public. It's public accessible to anybody. So we look at people to use social media in a responsible way. And if people have incidents where they see crime or they see information that's going on in social media, we encourage them obviously to let us know about that. Not through social media though. We would prefer that they call us at the sheriff's station, let us know what's going on in their neighborhoods or in their communities, and then we can respond to it appropriately. But like you said, in the Steubenville case, a lot of that stuff started playing out right on social media. And so you see people that are using social media all the time, and sometimes they're using it irresponsibly.
How unbelievable was that for you? I mean, just looking at the situation with that case where people are telling exactly what's going on.
I don't think it's unbelievable at all. It's really the day and times that we live in right now. We see things unfolding on social media all the time. You go to Twitter, you go to Facebook, particularly with young youth. They're using those social media sites, and we do a lot of stuff proactively and preventatively in order to teach people about how to properly use those things. I mean, we have the Sheriff's Department deals a lot with cyberbullying and sexting and stuff like that. So we're talking to kids to make sure that they understand the pitfalls of dealing with social media as well.
Exactly, because I mean, it's just surprising to me that they wouldn't think, putting those details out there that, that they shouldn't do that. One just for, kind of the Darwin Award of it, of, why would you put all of that information that can be traced back to you? Right. Why do they think it can't be traced back to them, that they would use it that way?
I think a lot of it is just naivety. They just don't realize the fact of, once you push that button and it goes out, it's out in the cyber world. So it's like with anything else. You have to be careful and you have to be responsible. But in this case, it worked out as far as solving a crime.
Absolutely, and I mean, hooray for that blogger to,
Yeah.
kind of keep on it and save all of those, screenshots that she thought would go away, which was the case.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, what do you think as far as, the police's responsibility, sheriff's responsibility of communicating with the public? What's the balance struck between public oversight and your need to protect sensitive information? We saw even in this, Kendrec McDade case, a lot of people, I know that's not your jurisdiction,
Right.
but, a lot of people calling for why hasn't video been released of, McDade at the robbery scene, the alleged robbery scene, or why wasn't there video during the, the police investigation? What do you think that balance is in getting the public the information they're asking for?
Well, a lot goes on when you're doing an investigation, whether it's a criminal investigation or it's an internal investigation. So we have to also protect the rights of the people that have allegations against them as well. So once that stuff becomes available to the public, we're more than happy, to share that information, at least with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Again, Sheriff Lee Baca believes in complete transparency in all the things that we do. So, but you have to be careful about what you release, and you have to look at people's rights as well. But we do release stuff that we feel that we can release based on the need for public consumption of those types of investigations.
Now, do you think, obviously, again, it's the Pasadena Police, but do you think that they should make the video available from the robbery scene?
Well, that's completely up to their investigation and how they conduct it. I mean, I really can't comment on that. Again, when you're dealing with an internal investigation like that, there's all kinds of different minutiae that's involved, so you have to be very careful about how you do it. But I think when the investigation is completely completed, and sometimes they're long investigations, they can sometimes
a year later, still going.
They can sometimes take years because they're so involved and there's so much minutia that's involved in dealing with those type of investigations. They want to make sure that they, for lack of a better term, cross all their T's and dots all their I's to make sure that the information they do release is accurate and valid and correct.
Okay, well, JBLASD, that's where they can find you on Twitter.
They certainly can.
And you're also doing a coffee with the community as well.
Yeah, we just did a coffee with the captain on Monday, which was that today? Gosh, I lose track of time. Yeah, that was this morning already. So yeah, we did coffee with the captain up at the Coffee Gallery, and that went very, 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 very well.
Okay, so they still get to see you in person.
Oh yeah.
Just like we did. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming in and talking about the tweet-a-thon.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Well, that's it for this newscast. Please reach out to us with news tips and community news at crowncitynews.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter to keep updated on the latest. For this newscast, thanks for Captain John Benedict for joining us in studio. Thanks to all of our sponsors, including Southern California Edison, Wink Marketing, Dr. Fareed Zarif, and the Pasadena Enterprise Center office building with available space. Thanks also to the CCN crew. They make this show possible. And finally, we thank you for watching CCN Crown City News. Join us each week as we cover the news in Pasadena and the San Gabriel Valley. For all of us here at CCN, I'm Senada Joshua Madison. Have a great week. Thank you. Had plenty to talk about.
That might be a really good something to talk about in the future.
I actually would love to put my reporter Paulo on that.
Yeah.
Because I know that is a pretty big issue in the area.
Well, nowadays, or it used to be, where neighborhood watch groups would meet in the driveway